Futures now, old man.
What it do, RookieHQ? Jose and J-Mac here with you, back for another rookie market value show. What's going on tonight, Jose?
Not much, J-Mac. What's up, Rookie HQ gang? Always a pleasure to be on here. Hope you guys are enjoying the content. We got another great episode for you. I've been doing good, J-Mac. How you been?
Been real good, man. I'm not gonna lie, I'm exhausted, bro. We've been doing a lot. Been working in our backyard. I've been building a pergola for the past 2 days, and out here on the West Coast in California, it's hot AF, bro. I mean, it was 88 degrees today, and I didn't even realize how hot it was because I started early in the morning when it was still pretty cool. And I'm out there and I'm sweating my butt off. Like it was pretty bad. But then it wasn't until like I went back out later after I had cooled off, I was like, oh, it's like hot. Like why is it this hot out? And then I looked at my phone. I was like, oh, it was almost 90 degrees today. This is all making sense.
Yeah, man. I'm pretty sure like almost the entire country is recording record heat for March all across. But just so you know, us non-fancy folk know what's a pergola.
You really don't know what a pergola is?
I mean, I don't, so maybe I'm just a filthy
It's the
commoner.
name of my fifth yacht.
Yeah,
No, it's like a shade structure. So
gotcha.
it's like one of those ones we got at Costco. They're prefabricated. It's just got four
Mm.
pillars, and then you put the beams and the trusses on there, and it's a lot of work. I had no idea. I was like, oh, this is gonna be like IKEA. I'll be done with this thing in like 4 hours, and I'm like 12 hours into this thing, and I probably have another 6 to 8 hours to go on it. So
Jesus.
yeah, it would be really nice for building this shade structure if I had some shade so that so that I'm not baking in the sun while I'm building it. But all right, that's enough of that. Let's get into it. Tonight we're going to talk about Jordyn Tyson and where his rookie market values are. So let's just jump right into it if you're ready, man.
Let's do it.
All right. Like we said, we're going to be talking about Jordyn Tyson here. We're going to change it up a little bit tonight. We're going to look at the player profiler dynasty rankings and where he sits within the wide receiver rankings. And we're going to play a little would you rather and kind of play up or down, see where he lands in our own personal rankings and that sort of thing before. And then we'll jump into looking at some trades where we're going to value him at the 104 like we have been doing in the past. And we'll go through a couple of those trades and look to see whether or not we like the value that we're getting there or if we're going to pass and take the other side of that trade. But let's just jump into it, man. I guess give me your thoughts on Jordyn Tyson here as the prospect. I think we were in agreement here that he's pretty clearly the wide receiver 3 in both of our, I don't want to say rankings because we don't have rankings necessarily, but just how we would take these guys. And I don't know, are you still there? Are you taking him as a wide receiver 3?
Honestly, I've been a little bit growing on Jordyn Tyson, or he's been growing on me in terms of his tape. I mean, he has got excellent, production profile. I think that's the first thing that a lot of people talk about, right? Is his college, what he did there. But I think the fact that, secondly, out of most people's mouths very quickly is his injury history, right? That's kind of, but I've kind of been leaning and starting to lean more into the scared money don't make money. I think he is a very good wide receiver, and I think he could work out in the NFL and be maybe the safest out of the other two guys. I do think Lemon and Tate have maybe higher ceilings, but I do feel like Tyson could be the safest and most like kind of just productive guy season in, season out if he's able to stay healthy, which is kind of obviously the big question. And I'm just like willing to take the gamble. Obviously, I think with all three of these guys, the landing spot does take a big hit to any of them. So, they could all jump, but I am more open to the fact that Tyson could vault over a Tate or a Lemon if his landing spot is good. I think the injuries things were something that scared me a lot at the beginning of this process, and I've kind of just slowly let them kind of fade into the back of my mind, whether that's a good thing or a bad thing. Who knows? Time will tell in the NFL. But I think his metrics and his breakout age, his ability to earn targets, a lot of this stuff is very, very good. And if he just didn't have maybe one of those years where he was injured, I think the narrative would be very different about him, and he would be much more in play with Tate and Lemon in terms of who should go first and second.
Yeah, I think that's fair. And we're talking about the advanced analytics here. He had a dominator rating average of 33.37% in his career, targets per route run of 0.312, yards per route run of 2.7, first down per route run of 0.125, and was averaging 5.13 yards after the catch per reception for his career. So I mean, really great advanced analytics. He's a stud, and like you said, the breakout age has really good, age adjusted numbers here, right? And I think that's why JJ Zacharyson is actually really high on him. He actually has him as an elite talent here. I forget what he calls it. It's his new tier of players but Jordyn Tyson kind of meets that. So I think there's a lot of reasons to be really high on him. I have a question, man. Like, how much emphasis do you put on like the breakout age here? I've kind of seen a little bit, going back and forth on how much emphasis we should be putting on this.
I mean, I think you like to see it, right? You like to see a player that's been able to come out and into college and early on earn the targets or the receptions or earn the trust of the coaches and just really come out and have a good season. Obviously, some players take time to develop. People change positions, different coaches. So I don't put like a ton of stock. It's just another point of plus. Like, I almost see it more as like a plus and don't use it much as a detractor. It's like in a profile, it's like, did they have a great breakout age or an early breakout age? Sure, that's a good thing. That's a positive. Did they not? I don't heavily ding or like look at players such negatively, right? I think it's just an extra little positive that doesn't always detract as much as it needs to. So that's kind of how I feel about it. I mean, and with Tyson, I mean, it's just the injuries, right? Like I feel like if you can just close your eyes and not know that the injuries happen, and you just looked at the numbers and you looked at his tape and him playing, you would probably, I think most people might put him like what you're saying, JJ Zacharyson is doing, putting him in an elite level, and he might be the 102 or 103, depending on where Mendoza goes, all those things. But and it's the NFL might see it that way as well, right? He might be the top guy that goes in the top 10 instead of Tate, instead of Lemon, and we could all kind of be changing our tune after the NFL draft.
Yeah, I also think it's one of those things where we could very well double count the injuries against him, because if he falls in the draft, it's more likely the NFL teams are going to be dinging him for these injury concerns. Like he didn't do any medicals at the combine. He still hasn't run at the pro day, or like he has done very little as a prospect, which is probably a smart thing because you don't want to risk injuring yourself and putting yourself out of the running here. But I feel like because of that, like the NFL teams may just kind of pass on him because he does have those question marks on him. And if he does, then that draft capital will reflect that injury history. And he might be, like a late first round pick. It's not mocked going that way, so that may not happen. But if that possibility does come to fruition, I could see the fantasy community being like, oh, he got a later round draft capital than we wanted, and he's got this injury history. So it's just one of those things where I feel like that would be double counting it in the sense of, just like when someone has a fast 40 and then they get drafted in the first round. It's like, well, yeah, he ran fast. He's getting drafted in the first round. He's still not a great prospect, in terms of like analytics and all those other things, like maybe like a Matthew Golden would be last year. It's like you're double counting the first round capital because he ran that fast 40. In this case, it'd be, kind of an inverse of that, but I guess it's just something to watch out for, and as the draft happens here. And we are what? I mean, we're like a month away from this draft here. I'm
Yeah,
excited, man.
yeah, it's creeping up, man. It's going to be a lot of fun. I one more thing about like Jordyn Tyson in terms of like his profile. It's also like um, dang, I just completely spaced on what I was going to say about him. Like I think that we could just look at we were going to look at like a completely
Let's do it,
spaced on
man.
what I was going to
No,
say.
yeah,
I was
let's
trying to
jump
find
into
it
it.
and it just went away. It's gone.
Yeah, it'll come back to you, man. It'll come back to you. All right, we'll jump into it here, and I guess I have the Dynasty Daddy up first of all, but let's actually jump over to the player profiler, and let's start here. So I guess of these top five, like no one's taking Jamar Chase or no one's taking Jordyn Tyson over Jamar Chase, JSN, Puka, CD, Malik, Jettas, Amon Ra. Would you want Jordyn Tyson over Drake London?
Without knowing the draft capital or landing spot, probably not. And I think if you just go the next name, Tet, probably not. I think the next few start to become pretty interesting, though.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's probably where we could start, right? It's like Garrett Wilson, George Pickens, Emeka Egbuka. It is going to be very much landing spot dependent. But since we have to kind of do this exercise without that landing spot, would you feel comfortable taking the 104 over any one of these players, knowing that you'd be getting Jordyn Tyson there?
Yeah, I mean, I think over Garrett Wilson, I think, he's about to be 26. He looks destined to be in the Jets purgatory, no matter how good of. He's also not that good that it doesn't matter who the quarterback, obviously he's going to continue to be held back. I think, Pickens, I think I'd be on the other side. I'd prefer Pickens. Egbuka, I think I'd be Tyson over Egbuka. Olave, I think I'm Olave over. And then Odunze, I think, is a very, very close wash. I think we're both very high on Odunze. But that's how I have those kind of next five names. How do you view it?
I think I still want all these guys over them, over Tyson. Just having the known quantity here with these guys makes me feel a little bit better. And I also think just I don't really care that Garrett Wilson's kind of stuck in a bad situation. I'm just going to continue to bet on it. We've seen him be good even in bad situations in terms of production. I could see the case where you would want to take Jordyn Tyson over it, especially if he gets a good landing spot. That's where I feel like I would be willing to move him down. So if we're in talking about, landing spot dependent, Jordyn Tyson gets the cream of the crop, the nuts landing spot here. I would probably take him over Garrett Wilson, over George Pickens. I'm still high on Egbuka. I'd keep him. I'm still high on Olave. I'd keep Olave. So I would move Garrett Wilson and George Pickens down below Tyson, but I would put Tyson behind Egbuka, Olave, and Odunze is how I would sit. And I think I'm pretty firmly either way. I have Jordyn Tyson above Lad McConkey. Would you be similar there?
Yeah, I agree.
What about Nico Collins here?
Man, he's very interesting. Like he's
Yeah.
the oldest out of all the guys we mentioned, and yeah, I mean, I think the thing here is that on all of these, I think you could probably get a little bit more if you're trading away the vet. Besides maybe like a Lad McConkey, I think all of these guys would fetch the 104 plus. Maybe not a huge plus, depending on which player we're talking about. But most of them, I think you could probably get the plus. So I think in those situations, like Nico Collins for Jordyn Tyson straight up, it feels a little hard, like hard pill to swallow. But I do think that I would go that route, just given the age, the current like projection for that offense, CJ Stroud, like everything going on, it's just not great. I think rolling back 6 years is just a smart move to do for pretty much any team build if you can get it done.
Hmm. Hmm. That's interesting. Yeah. I don't hate it. I'm just like thinking about the teams where I have Nico Collins now and if I would make that move, and I feel like I would want like the 104 and something else on top to get to from Nico Collins, but I mean that's not clearly not what the market is saying. Okay, so it sounds like then we would probably have, I guess let's just do some due diligence here. Would you take any of these guys behind Jordyn Tyson over Jordyn Tyson? I guess Luther Burden is somewhat interesting to me, but beyond that,
Yeah, I don't think so. I mean, like we were
Maybe
talking about, I
Brian.
think on the main, yeah, Brian Thomas Jr. Man. I mean, I was in and oof, I'm trying. I'm getting a little shaky hands, man. It's like you're
Yeah.
going into your pod committed. At least I am with where my resources are on Brian Thomas Jr. and the trades I made last season. So I'm pot committed now, and but like I'm starting to wonder, man, am I about to get hit with something that's not going to be fun at all? I think Devontae Smith, maybe like as an older guy there, if AJ Brown got traded for the next couple seasons, you could make that argument, but that's a lot of ifs and a lot of different things that would need to kind of need change for that to be the case. So no, I think player profiler, as a professional organization, obviously that they are here, has them very very well ranked right in here because you have some really tough decisions above, and most of the guys behind. It doesn't make much sense that you would want them over Jordan Tyson.
Yeah, I would feel comfortable moving him, Jordan Tyson, up a few spots. I think we would pretty firmly have him as like maybe like the wide receiver 15 if we're talking about he's like a front end wide receiver two for us, it feels like. Whereas, um, and probably even creeping into that, you know, wide receiver two, like the highest of the wide receiver twos, if he got like a really good landing spot here. I think, we'd be moving, like we said, Garrett Wilson down. I'd be moving George Pickens. You'd be moving Emeka Egbuka. So yeah, sounds like, pretty firmly in like that wide receiver 15 to 17 range for where he's going.
Yeah. And I kind of remember what I was going to say earlier. I was going to say, like, I think a lot of people might have that 104, 10, that sort of pick and may get upset, like sad that they don't end up getting Tate or Makai Lemon, based on like the projections beforehand and the projections after, like of the draft. But they might end up the happiest, right? It kind of feels like if you
Hmm.
remember back a few years where it was like the QJ Safe Flowers and there's one more player. It was like a pack of three wide receivers. They were a little bit later in the draft, but it felt like people were upset they didn't get one, and some people just lucked into the best one. I think maybe a lot of people might end up doing that with Jordan Tyson because I think a lot, unless sentiment shifts radically, he does seem like the guy at the bottom of the tier with the wide receivers. So I think a lot of people might just luck into the best wide receiver out of this class if he's able to stay healthy, right?
Was that the Rashi Rice? Maybe is that who that was?
I cannot remember who it was. It was a pack of three first round receivers that year. Um,
Hmm. I'm looking it up. Give me a second.
yeah, no worries.
Um, 2023 picks by round. So 2023 would have been Bryce Young, Zay Flowers, Quentin Johnston, like you said.
Oh, no,
Was it
JSN was
JSN?
earlier.
But JSN took a while. Jordan Addison. There
Mhm.
was, honestly, I think
Was it the JSN year?
that was the JSN year, yeah. But I think that was also the Rashi Rice year as well.
Hmm.
Who he hit pretty quickly. Yeah, he was in the
Right.
23rd, 2023 to 55th overall. I mean, he was probably like a late first round pick that year as well. Okay,
Yeah.
let's jump out of that talk and discussion there, and let's get into some trades here. Dynasty Daddy has updated some of their visualizations here, their user interface. So now we get some fun pictures to look at with these guys. Jeremy does great work over there. He's constantly updating Dynasty Daddy and the inner workings of it all, adding cool new features and stuff. So shout out to Jeremy, who's always working on and perfecting his craft and his tool here. It is by far my most used tool for Dynasty. All right, let's jump into it here. Yeah, I guess this first one is interesting. In a super flex 12 by 11 full PPR full point tight end premium. Are you paying the Malik Willis tax to move up from the 111 to the 104? So in this case, it's the 104 and Calvin Austin, which whatever, for Malik Willis and the 111. Is Malik Willis enough for you to move out of that 104 spot?
Yeah, I mean, roster construction dependent. If I'm quarterback needy, I could kind of see this move, right? You still got a young player to make a draft pick, and then you get a starting quarterback. The Malik Willis situation, we've been talking about it on the main pod and across, our talks here. It kind of the era was I was at least decently excited, and then now it's kind of just trended downwards more and more as the season has gone on, and sorry, the off season has gone on. So for that, I think I would probably prefer the 111 and Malik Willis, but I think it's a fair trade, especially if you're needing a quarterback, right? Like I could see giving up a premier pick in this draft to move back.
Yeah, I feel like that 111 in this format is probably not going to be like a Eli Stowers. So that's probably going to end up being like Elijah Surratt or maybe one of those running backs that gets drafted. I mean, Jadarian Price is most frequently the running back two to be drafted here. And we've recently seen a mock to like the Seahawks at the end of the first round, which we talked about last episode. So yeah, I think for me, I'm just gonna take the 104 and I'm gonna take the role on Jordyn Tyson here because even though Malik Willis is a quarterback, a starting quarterback, like there's no real future for him set right now. Like he has to play out of his mind to to keep that job, whereas I'd feel comfortable in the security of a more refined prospect coming out. And even though it's a quarterback, like honestly, like quarterback jobs feel less and less secure as the years go on. We've seen, people get contracts and now they're out of jobs. Like Tua is probably, the first example of that. Geno Smith is another one, right? These guys are just they don't produce and they're just getting cut. And it's yeah, I give me Jordyn Tyson in this situation here. Maybe that's
Yeah,
bad process.
no, I could see that. I definitely think it could make sense.
All right, let's keep moving here. This one's interesting. So in a super flex 12 by 10 full PPR half point tight end premium is a key factor here since there is a tight end involved. On one side, we have Chiga Kwanko, Jordyn Tyson, and a 2027 first for Omarion Hampton and the 401.
Yeah, I mean, I think this is fair value for Hamden. I feel like this is what he's going for, two first plus. I don't think he's fully entered the three first category of like those echelon just because we haven't seen it. I know there's a lot of hype. I mean, you're kind of trading two guys that have a lot of hype from this offseason with Chig, who's, his stock seems to be steadily rising, and then Hampton with all the O line changes and McDaniel getting there. So I feel like it's pretty fair. Um, Either side, like I wouldn't be mad receiving either side. Obviously, like what is the projection on the 27 first? If it's
Right.
coming from the same team that got the 10 that had the 104 and now they're trading away Hampton, like how much worse are they going to be next year? So, maybe that's an early first next year. If we put it somewhere between like the 104 or maybe 105 of a 2027 first, and I think I jumped to that side just because I think there's more inherent value there. But I feel like if you're going to go after Hampton, this is kind of the type of price you're going to have to pay. And this is a great way to use Chiga Conquo. Unless you really believe that he's the next big thing at tight end, I feel like this is a great way where if you try to trade Chig just on himself, like the hype isn't enough that you can just go make a trade. But it thrown into a piece in a deal like this, he's like the perfect piece with enough hype where as the add-on into a trade, he makes a lot of sense and makes a lot of people excited and happy and willing to click that yes button.
Yeah, he definitely has steamed up, right? I'm in a startup where he just got selected in the 13th round, pretty early in the 13th round as well. And I mean, there's still some usable pieces going in that spot. So I could definitely see him being vaulted up even higher based on what he does this year, especially if they just ride with Okonkwo. But I also have seen that Washington may be in the market for other tight ends. I want to say Njoku maybe was there was rumored to be talking about him. So That would be wild if they sign Okonkwo to the deal that they did and, and they go get another one, tight end in free agency. But regardless of that, Jordyn Tyson and a 2027 first for Hampton. If we just kind of cancel out the Okonkwo and he's just the sweetener to make it happen, I'm with you. Like, I think that 2027 first needs to be a mid at the latest for me to feel good about that deal. It's hard to imagine, though, Hampton being traded for these picks here when Hampton was probably already going to, you know, a rebuilding team last year. He was a high first round pick in 2025. But you never know with these trade addicted leagues. You know, Hampton, this could be the fourth time Hampton got moved in that league.
Yeah, I mean, in several leagues, I saw Hampton like during the draft, and I was one of them that traded for the pick that was Hampton to put him on a contending team.
That's
He
true.
didn't help as much as I wanted, but it's something, or somebody is just really far away. Like they got Hampton and they waited for him to get healthy, and now his arrow is pointing up, and they're like, this running back is not going to help me even in 2 years. I need to move into 27 capital. So I could see that. I think it's a fair price for Hampton.
I'm going to take the picks here just because I feel like there's more value on that side where I could probably kind of move some things and get some stuff done. But like you said, I think that it's a pretty fair trade. And if I was looking to compete and needed a running back, I would pay that price to go get Hampton.
Would you pay this for Hampton or Genty? Let's say same exact deal for whatever reason you could get. Who would you rather have going into next season? Just as a quick
Genty.
side, Genty. Yeah.
Yeah, and I like Hampton quite a bit, but I just Genty is the better prospect, and when you pair that up with Clint Kubiak and what he can do, I'm excited for Genty. I think he's gonna have a real breakout year here. All right, let's keep trucking here. Let's see if we can fit in a couple more. Let's pass on that one. That's way too many.
My lord, that is a crime and a half.
Right here, that 104 for the 112 and the 209.
My goodness, that is a crime and a half.
That sure is. Yeah, we'll slide right past that one. Okay, yeah, let's deal with this one here. Superflex 12 by 11 full PPR 0.75 tight end premium. On one side, you got Dak Prescott and the newly acquired Romeo Doubs for the New England Patriots, or DJ Moore and Jordyn Tyson. I'm pretty firmly on Dak's side here. Like, just
really,
yeah, like give me the quarterback, and I feel like Dobbs, like, especially if I'm a contending team here, Dobbs is probably going to outproduce Jordyn Tyson here, unless Jordyn Tyson just absolutely skyrockets into the elite tier where he's a top 5 wide receiver next year. I don't see, unless AJ Brown gets traded to New England here, like Dobbs is like a lock for 70 catches and like 800 yards, I feel like, on that New England offense.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely think Jordyn Tyson, depending on his landing spot, could outproduce Dobbs pretty easily. I don't think he'd need to be anything crazy. I mean, you don't think Tet as having a crazy season and he had like 1,000 yards and 7 touchdowns or something. So I could see that. I mean, in terms of just raw coming out of college, I think Jordyn Tyson is a better prospect than Tet was last year. I like him more. That's where I'm at. But I think it is a big gamble onto him being elite. Like, he would need to not just be good and outproduce Dobbs. He would need to be really good to make this deal worth it. Trading 2 wide receivers. I mean, DJ Moore coming like up on 29, right? 29 years old, something like that.
30,
so,
yeah.
30 and Dak. So, yeah, I think I'm with you. I think I'm on the quarterback side. I mean, the only thing that makes me hesitate a little bit is the start 11. So you're starting quite a lot. And normally it's like 3 wide receivers, 3 flex, and a full PPR. Those wide receivers could go a long way. But I think you're right. Tyson would have to be pretty amazing in a rookie year to at least outscore Dak and Dobbs in the first year.
Yeah. All right. We got about 30 seconds here. I think we should just call. Let's just roll into the outro here. that was a banger.
My man said, "I am tired."
I'm so tired. You guys, you don't even know what a pergola is, let alone.
I think when you were describing, I'm like, oh, that just sounds like a bungalow. Like, that's, I think, what we call it. What I've heard.
I mean,
something. Yeah, whatever.
I feel like a
Fifth
bungalow.
yacht, fourth pergola. Who cares, man?
I feel like a bungalow. I need to put up some tiki torches and some of those. What do you call that? Like, it looks like hay. You know, that they like decorate walls with and stuff. Anyways, maybe I'll get some tiki
we're
torches.
gone.
I'll
Yeah,
turn
you
it into
should.
a bungalow.
There you go. Oh man.
All right, well, thanks
go
for
ahead.
hanging out, guys. Go ahead, Jose. Sign us out, brother.
Thank you, RookieHQ Game, for hanging out with us as always. You can catch us on our own YouTube channel, Future First Podcast, Future First Pod, wherever you get your podcast from. We're still doing roster reviews. If you want to do that, hit us up. And that's about it. We're out.